As architects for all those homes, I blame you guys in a sense because at the end of the day, you are responsible for the life safety of the building. So every year California burns and homes get burned down on time, but this fire in California was something we've never seen before. Let's discuss the problem, things that architects could have done better, and let's just break it down in this video. So the problem is giant wildfires happen. And what happened in California was extremely unfortunate and people lost their homes for many, many years that they've been living in. It's an issue. But why did this happen is another question. You know, it could have been controversy, could have been planned, whatever the case may be, the wildfires happen, right? We have to acknowledge that fires happened. Now, the role as the architect is we design houses. What could we have done? What are architects doing about it? What should we be doing moving forward? The problem is the wildfires are burning a lot there, right? So we have no infrastructure in California. There's no fire suppression systems. There's no fire hydrants. There's no reservoir. There's basically no water suppression system. So what this does for the architect puts them in two positions. Number one, to design against fires, or ignore the fact and design cost-effective solutions. So designing against wildfires would include concrete, maybe some fire-rated metals. At the same time, you have a developer who wants to do it super cheap, they're going to opt for the wood. So when you have concrete homes, these are able to block the fire, hence fireproofing buildings. When you go with the cheap wood, which are all the homes in California, you see what happens. Now, you may have seen some photos or videos where houses actually maintained and stayed alive during the fire. Those are made out of concrete. It's not a miracle. They're just made out of concrete. So the problem is understanding that there is fires, understanding that there is no water suppression system, understanding there is no reservoir, and still building something that does not comply with the fire rate. It's a recipe for disaster, hence the perfect storm. So as an architect, we need to do better. And what I mean by this is understand that, okay, I understand cost is one thing, but at the same time, life safety is our priority. As architects for all those homes, I blame you guys in a sense because at the end of the day, you are responsible for the life safety of the building. What's the next step moving forward, right? So the fires have happened, some houses have made, some houses are not. Moving forward, how do we prevent this from ever happening again? Several things. Number one, politics. We all hate politics, but at some point, politics have to get involved and incorporate stricter requirements. Homes cannot be made out of wood. Homes have to be made out of concrete. Or if you are doing wood, you have to have fire suppression systems or some sort of reservoir or some sort of infrastructure incorporated. This ties to politics. Number two, put on the architect. And as an architect, your responsibility is life safety. Yes, things happen, but we're here in South Florida. We deal with hurricanes. At the end of the day, these buildings don't fall down because we are constantly improving the designs down here. California, you guys are behind. As a result, look what happens. We can withstand category 4 or 5 hurricanes, no problem. You guys can handle firestorms. You have to be able to handle that because that's what your environment calls for. Same thing in New York, you have snow and winds. Same thing for Texas, you have the heat and humidity and the cold. These are things as the architect needs to account for. And then number 3, the solution is incorporating all this back into the city and working with developers and clients that understand this. Because at the end of the day, it's the developers, developers have a say in this too. They want things super cheap, but at some point, at what cost? Look what happened in California. Every home was made out of wood, everyone lost their homes, but the ones that are made out of concrete spend a little bit more are able to survive. It's extremely, extremely unfortunate, but as architects and developers, we have a responsibility to the people that we're developing and building for to make sure this does not happen again. Overall, this disaster is not only a fortunate series of events, it's also a call to action to all of us out there to make sure this does not happen again. Look at other states such as Florida or New York who have improving codes every single month and every year to basically handle their natural disasters. California, you as a state need to step it up to make sure this does not happen again. Florida, we are constantly, especially South Florida, constantly improving our codes and stringent requirements to make sure that a hurricane cannot just come through and wipe us out. That is what's important. Politics, you got to do your job. Owners and developers, you have to do your job. Ultimately, architects, you have to do your job and not sign off on these things that are eventually going to be problems that are going to be happening. At the end of the day, that's the call to action for you guys. You need to step up to the plate. And look what we're doing down here in South Florida as an example to make sure this never happens again in California, ever.